sorry, not yet. Little schedule change, I'm sorry. I'd like to introduce Ann Painter, if Ann is here and available. Here comes Ann. So Ann is the board liaison for the Academy DPHA Board of Directors, and she just wanted to say a couple of more words.
Thank you, Tim, and good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your lunch. I have the privilege of serving on the Delaware Academy of Medicine, Delaware Public Health Association as their board secretary. And this is just a wonderful group. I didn't expect everyone to be this many people here and this much energy around health workforce. And I thank you for coming, bringing your input, your questions, your feedback, concerns, and working together with the state and the funding that they've provided to the association as well. So enjoy your lunch and looking forward to our speaker as well. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. And at this point, if I could ask Dr. Kate Smith to join us. So I hired Kate a few years ago, and I told her right off the bat that if she showed competency, she was going to get herself into trouble. Well, she's my boss now, so she's in trouble.
I'm also a lot warmer now than I was. Anyone else? Yeah, my fingers stopped turning white, so thank you for whoever did that. Thank you all for coming. This is amazing. Somebody said, hey, where did you do this last year? I said, no, this is the first one. So thank you all for coming to this amazing first conference. We'll have to do it again sometime. I do want to note, in your program, we have the lovely, who's who, but we also have all of the information about loans and repayment programs. So I want to call your attention to all of these things that we can use as tools to get people to come and fill some of these voids. The Academy has loans. We have loans through ARPA that aren't just for doctors and dentists, but are for dental hygienists and social workers and all members of our healthcare workforce. And we have programs like Delaware Mini Medical School, which pushes those children of, middle and high school into the healthcare pathway so that we can, get them when they're young, and hopefully they'll continue through. So come around, say hi, and thank you, Tim. I won't take up any more of your time.
All righty. Okay, Julia, you're up.
All right. Well, I now have the pleasure to introduce Scott Malfitano. Scott, many of you might know, has held numerous leadership roles at the Corporation Service Company, CSC, over 30 years, ranging from acclimating customers into the organization's business and service culture, to managing the development and construction of its global headquarters, and launching a co-working and innovation hub called CSC Station, which is located in Wilmington. Prior to CSC, Scott worked in the financial industry for the Brandywine Funds, and early in his career for a succession of state and national figures. In 2021, Governor John Carney appointed Scott as chair of Delaware's Workforce Development Board. Scott also serves as on the board of the Pete DuPont Freedom Foundation, the Board of Governors for the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce, and the GEAR P3 Task Force. Scott, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Julia. Tim, thanks for having me. So, as Julia indicated, I chair the Governor's Workforce Development Board. How many of you here serve on some type of board? Raise your hands. Pretty significant, right? How many of you serve on a board of 11 people or less? Okay. How many of you serve on a board with 25 people or less? Okay. How many of you serve on boards greater than that? Our board is 53 members. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of folks that come and attend some of our meetings, and people bring some staff people, so it gets a lot of folks around the table. We are not necessarily unique. I mean, we are one of the few states that has its own a singular state board. It's really obviously due to our size. But what the heck do we do, right? We invest in programs that actually train the state's future workforce. That's our ultimate goal. And one's focused on areas where we're growing the fastest. And of course, we all know that healthcare is indeed the largest and the fastest growing industry in our state. We look to align those investments ultimately through training. We do continuing education, upskilling, and career advancement. Those are the focal points that we take a look at. So what do we do? There's programs like CNA trainings, there's phlebotomy trainings, there's computer programming trainings, all the way up to carpentry and welding and things of that nature. Some of our colleagues that we work with are folks that you all do. It's Del Tech, it's UD, it's the Maggie Career Center, it's the Delaware Skills Center, it's numerous high schools throughout the state as well. So ultimately, we also look at one other thing. What's the return on our investment, our ROI? And really, what is that at the end when you give somebody or grant somebody some money? It's a job. And that's the real focal point that we take a look at. We invest annually anywhere from $8 to $12 million. That's money that comes in from the federal government and also the state. And so we put our actually criteria that we spoke of, that job and other things that people are looking at in the growth industries, and put our filters on that, and that's where we make our investments. There's about another $10 million that the Department of Labor and the Department of DET does, and they invest in a number of programs throughout the state. And what we do is we try to stay aligned with them. Obviously, the Secretary of Labor is on our board and a number of their team. And so we really take a look at those growth areas and see if we can create some real synergies and investment. But when COVID hit in 2020, something different happened amongst all of you and, of course, us. We were given a $50 million number to invest in workforce throughout the state. And so that was a pretty significant amount of money to take a look at. And what we looked at in one of the first programs that came to us was TIM and the Delaware Health Force. And it was exactly something that fit right into our wheelhouse, right? It was database driven. We can kind of track the results. There was a job waiting at the end of the programming and the investment they were taking a look at. And it created a career opportunity, a talent pipeline of growth in our state. And so we invested $5 million with you and your team. One of the results of that was actually a dashboard that you're working with a company called Lightcast, and I know it's something you're going to be introducing over the next several months as well to others. But we're also able to look at that Lightcast component through the Workforce Development Board. And two things that we take, just two little nuggets to take a look at. On average, there's anywhere from 882 registered nursing positions openings a month here in Delaware. And that may be due to growth, and it may be due to some people replacements, if you will. And then the other one, over the last 12 months itself, there were more than 15,000 unique positions in healthcare posted in the state of Delaware. So that's the kind of things that Lightcast can tell us. And I know that Tim and the team are working on a number of other components to take a look at and measure your results. And as we all well know, that healthcare then and still is a major growth industry in our state. It's so critical to us that actually two members of your panelists today are actually on our board. Margaret LaFascia, right here, and from Nemours, and actually Jessie Rhodes from Christiana Care. I think I saw her earlier, but there she is over there. So thank you both for all you do for us. And they know how interesting it is to kind of get all those people in one room. So far in fiscal year 25, only 3 months into the year, we've invested approximately $200,000, maybe a little more, specifically on healthcare-related industry. That's 5 times more than we have placed investment in any other group in our state, any other kind of career level. Give you an example of that. Right now, there's 8 students at Indian River, 8 seniors, that are actually taking right now, they're in the high school, and they're taking their CNA training. And what they'll be able to do is those seniors will be able to actually work in a facility in the spring semester. So those are the kind of investments we're taking a look at and open to other suggestions that you all have. So, and finally, we all know that health is one of the state's largest expenses that we have, right? But it's a huge economic benefit to our state as well. And we can never forget and lose sight of that. So we look forward to working with you, looking forward to new ideas you may have for us, suggestions that we have. We'd like to invest that money properly, appropriately, and actually look at that ROI, a job. Thank you.